All right, what's up, everyone? It's an emergency pod. Obviously, we don't do many of these because, well, I think the one day we did it, I was downtown and there was like limited capabilities because Sewell signed his contract, St. Brown signed his contract. But today is a massive day for the Detroit Lions and the organization for the Detroit Lions because, Tyler, this is something that I think a lot of people should be excited about. Re-signing Jared Goff. It puts to bed the notion that you got to look for a quarterback. Maybe Hendon Hooker is the guy. Maybe Hendon Hooker is not the guy. You're not in that limbo of looking for a quarterback. You know who your quarterback's going to be. You have confidence that he could be that guy. And I feel like there's a lot of fans that are like, but we paid him too much money, this and this and this. And my whole thing about this is, yes, you're paying him $53 million. But thank the Lord, you'll be getting this ahead of before Dak Prescott gets his deal. Jordan Love's about to get paid. There's many other quarterbacks that are coming down the line that are going to be getting paid much more. If you got a good quarterback, if you feel like you have a good quarterback, you got to pay that quarterback. And if you don't feel like paying that quarterback, well, then you're going to go into the draft and you're going to be showing your hand at a JJ McSizzle or a Caleb Williams or something along those lines, and that just doesn't happen that much. Think about the San Francisco 49ers. They drafted Trey Lance. They thought he was the future. It ended up being a 7th-round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. That was their future. So these type of things that they could really just, when you're looking for a quarterback, nothing matters but having a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're pretty much effed.
Yeah, I know. I love this. I love it. I love that we got a deal done. I'm not worried about the money. First off, I love how everybody's always like, we paid too much money. I wouldn't have given that money. Okay, well, you're not the Detroit Lions. You're not the salary cap guy, and it's not your fucking money. So relax. All right? Like, he got paid. It was the going rate. And look, you add it to his last year of his deal because it's an extension. So it actually, instead of a 4 for 212, it's really like a 5 for 243 because he had 31 million left on this year. So really, when you spread that out over 5 years, it equals out to about 48 million AAV, which ends up putting him like sixth or seventh in active quarterbacks in total guaranteed money, and I think like third or fourth in AAV, with many more quarterbacks ready to get paid. So, I mean, if you. I know Deshaun Watson's contract was a colossal failure and a huge F up by the Browns. I mean, it's regarded as a horrible shit contract. But if you're going to sit there and tell me that some team gave Deshaun Watson $260 million guaranteed, and you're scoffing at the fact that we gave Jared Goff $170 million guaranteed, hold on. Let me say this: if you're going to sit here and say, and some people, not all, because I was against this contract like a motherfucker. But if you say Daniel Jones getting $160 million guaranteed, oh wow, okay, that was doable. Jared Goff getting $171. You're telling me that you think Jared Goff's only $11 million worth $11 million more than Daniel Jones? Like, get lost. I think you got to look at the way. I think when the details of this contract breaks down, you're going to be really like surprised on how well it's played out. Because one, like I said, it's stretched out over next year plus another 4 years. Two, Mike Disner, our cap guy, is like a cap god. Yeah, and you know what I mean? So, and I guarantee, and three, I guarantee that towards the last like 2 years of this contract, there's going to be some opportunities for either a re-sign, a restructure, a void, a cut, or a release, or a trade. There's going to be a way out. So I don't know if he'll see all of that $243 million over these next 5 years. But what I do know is that, he's going to at least see 170 of this, and we've got our quarterback for the next 4 years. And yeah, like you said it, man, you nailed it. There's no question marks at the position. You got your tackle of the current and future, probably the best, if not one of the best tackles in all of football in Panay Sewell. You have a top 5 receiver in Amon-Ra, and you have a top 5 quarterback, arguably between top 5 and top 10.
Statistically, he is a top 5 quarterback. Because if we look,
you're locked in, man. You've got 3 of the most important positions on offense locked in. You're good to go, man. Let's get it going.
If you look at the statistics, like these are over the last 2 years. Wins, he's 4th in the NFL. Touchdowns, 3rd in the NFL. He only trails Mahomes and Allen. He had 9,000 passing yards in 2 years. That's second best in the NFL. His turnovers was 27. He had 27. That's seventh most in the NFL. But if you think about it from this spectrum, Mahomes has more. Allen's at 41. So that's a long. There's seven other guys in between him. So I don't really worry about the turnovers. Like if you look, and then the one thing I always laugh about is people say that can you win with Jared Goff? Well, if you look at Jared Goff's playoff statistics, it shows you can win with this guy. 61.7 completion rating, 2,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, yards per attempt 6.9. His completion rating is 61.7. But if you take all those numbers right there and you just make it a little bit better, just a little bit better, like you don't have to make it absorbent. You don't have to make it like this over the wall. Like this is how much better he's got. Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions, his stats are way better. So his statistics with the Detroit Lions make that look better. That's coaching. And that's, when you have Dan Campbell, when you have Ben Johnson, and they're bought into the quarterback, you can kind of tell that Sean McVay wasn't bought in with Jared Goff. We're all aware
absolutely. Of that. And I'm going to say something hot here because there's a lot of Stafford lovers and there's a lot of Stafford fans still here in Detroit. I mean, dude, I've got 2 or 3 of his jerseys myself. I was a big Stafford guy back in the day. But listen, Matthew Stafford, we made him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL when the cap was probably about $180 million or maybe less. And I think we gave him $25 million or $30 million per year at quarterback. Yeah. So, look, you're paying Jared Goff, an AAV of about, however you want to look at it, between 48 and 53. And the cap has gone up to like $250 million. So, percentage of cap wise, he's probably going to be taking up, I don't know what, 15% of the cap hit, maybe. And usually usually starting caliber quarterbacks take anywhere from 13 to 17% of the cap typically.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head because like if you look back historically, the quarterback has always taken 13 to 17% of the cap. People, how a lot of people will tell you, well, Brady took like less. He still took 13% of the cap, okay? Right. It wasn't like he was taking this massive pay dump. Obviously, he did take a pay cut because he could have been the highest paid quarterback at any given time because he was Tom Brady.
And how many people have a wife that has $700 million for modeling and acting?
Well, that's another thing. I mean, like, it's a victim of circumstance. You think Patrick Mahomes is going to give up his money? No, because Brady and Mahomes doesn't make any money.
Right.
And his brother's over here dancing himself into oblivion.
Yeah.
So I just say this with all certainty, okay? Jared Goff, if this contract works out, you can guarantee that in the next contract, he's going to give you a hometown deal. I can guarantee you that because if this works out, it works out in your favor, 4 years from now, you could be potentially looking at another contract, maybe like 2 or 3 years, and you want to extend it. You want to extend it.
Well, and I want people to know too, like, I mean, from having the insider information and knowledge that I know and I've gotten to gain over the years is that the players have very little to say about any of this with their contracts. I mean, they literally hand it to their agents for the most part. I mean, unless there's something like I remember like TJ Watt pretty much like cut his agent off, fired his agent, walked into the Steelers office, said, hey, I'll take this much. Let's get it done. Boom, because his agent was trying to squeeze out more money. But very, very rarely does a player have any say in their negotiations unless they represent themselves a la Lamar Jackson. But typically, look, they're focused on playing ball. They're focused on helping the team. They're focused on, doing their off-season workouts. They hire an agent for a reason. They let their agent dictate what the market's worth, what they're worth. And that agent and, the cap guys and the general managers, they go back and forth and they negotiate. So, obviously, both sides came to an agreement. So that means that, they felt like he was worth that much. And like I said, at the end of the day, look, I understand that Tom Brady took a little less, but like I said, his family, because of his wife, will have generational wealth from now until the end of forever. Some of these guys, they have limited opportunities to get the most money they possibly can and set their families up for generations. So, I mean, look, you got to get the generational wealth while you can, especially for working for some of these owners who just make billions and billions of dollars. I mean, go get yours when you can, man. You can't be mad at Jared Goff for getting, he's had the statistics. He's had the wins. They're chanting his name in the Red Wings games. They're chanting his names at Tigers games. They're chanting his names at grocery stores. And he's winning games. He's won 2 playoff games with us. And he's been here for 3 seasons. That is more. He's done more in 3 seasons than the franchise has done in the past freaking 40 years. You know,
And Darcy
you
brings
got to
up
reward him.
Darcy, Captain Poopy Pants over here. He brings up when you go for it on fourth down, of course his numbers going to be inflated. But here's the thing, Darcy. Here's a counterpoint. You're a coach. You should know this. You still have to make the play.
Right.
Am I right or am I wrong? You have to make the play. Like if you don't make the play, going for fourth down doesn't really matter. So you going for it on fourth down or you're not going for fourth down. It shows that one, Dan Cable has confidence in the offense. He has confidence in the way that they're playing, and that's the way it goes. And look, we could sit here all day long. We can talk about Jared Goff and is he worth it or all that, but like you look at some of these quarterbacks getting the money that they're getting. I mean, it's kind of like I said earlier. Like you kind of just the next guy gets the money. And thank God you got Jared Goff to sign before Jordan Love's going to sign. Dak Prescott's going to resign at some point. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is going to resign at some point. You would have to think because Jacksonville is kind of in this limbo. I still think they think he's a franchise quarterback. I have my doubts, but that's besides the point. But besides that, you got all these guys on, that are looking for a contract, and they're going to make it even higher. So let's say in another 2 years, Jared Goff's is $53 million, and the next quarterback is like 62. Like that's a $10 million difference. So, and you made it out perfectly. Mike Disner is one of the best cap guys in the NFL. I have to imagine that the way that's structured kind of aligns with the way that they want to have some cap flexibility in the long term with St. Brown's contract, with Sewell's contract. And I imagine that they're already projecting for Hutch and, who they can resign and who they can't resign. That's the major question. Like, obviously, we knew that at a point you're not going to be able to resign everybody. That's what makes, drafting a huge thing, free agency a huge thing. And thankfully, Brad Holmes has done a great job at drafting because at this point in time, like if you can draft well, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, and the way I also, the way I see it as well is that you're getting into a position now where look, you can change your opinions, you can change your mind, you can change how you view things, man. Because I was not a Jared Goff guy, that. You guys all know that. Everybody that listens to the show, I had my doubts. I had my doubts about his mobility. I had my doubts about his arm strength. I had my doubts about his playmaking. But just watching the guy find a way to win, you have to appreciate that. He's got the second most wins since 2016 in the NFL behind Tom Brady. And so, he finds a way to win. He finds a way to get it done. And so when you have a guy that can win and like you've got a guy that Amon-Ra raves about, Penei Sewell raves about, Taylor Decker raves about, Jahmyr Gibbs raves about. All these guys have such, Sam Laporta, they have all these positive things to say about him. That's my quarterback. I want him to get the job done. Obviously you're going to come to your defense of your quarterback for the most cases, but going out of your way to make it known that you want this guy to stick around, that's big. The city loves him. We've embraced him. And aside from that, like you always say, bro, like I've heard you say this a million times, it's so much easier to get worse than it is to get better at quarterback. If Hendon Hooker comes in, there's a more likelihood that he's going to be a Zach Wilson than he's going to be a Jared Goff.
Well, that's what people don't get. Like if quarterback was so easy to find the next guy, like if quarterback was so easy to find, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have went from Terry Bradshaw to nothing. From nothing.
Yeah.
That's one of the best organizations in football, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They went from Terry Bradshaw, nothing. Then they got Ben Roethlisberger. Now they're on this tirade where they're going with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and that's one of the best organizations in football.
Yeah. They were rolling out a lineup of Mason Rudolph and
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And just
bullshit.
Gobbledygook. And here's the thing. It's much easier to get worse at the quarterback position. We see it all the time throughout the NFL. I mean, there's guys starting in the NFL that should not be starting at all. We know that.
If you said that, let's just go with Hendon Hooker and let's let Jared Goff go, and Hendon Hooker ends up being shit, you just set the franchise back 5, 6, 7 years. You just wasted Amon-Ra, you just wasted Sewell, and you just wasted Hutchinson.
Because how many times do you get the chance to get a quarterback like Jared Goff? It doesn't come available much. I mean, if you get a guy,
number one overall pick for a reason, man.
If you get a guy, like for instance, Matthew Stafford, when he came available, the Rams hit on it. The Packers they traded Aaron Rodgers because they knew what they had in Jordan Love, and they were probably right. Some of these teams that Seattle traded Russell Wilson, and I feel like they got the better of the deal. Like they got the better of the deal because they traded a quarterback that they knew was on the end. So if you go and trade for a quarterback, 10-1, you trade for a quarterback, it's not going to work out in your favor. There's a 1-9 league with Matthew Stafford, and no one's going to deny that. But if you look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at Russell Wilson, you look at some of these guys that got traded, Derek Carr, okay, right. Drew Brees was another one that worked out, but I can only name 2. That's what's tough. So let's get some comments. Do you got anything else to say?
I think that, it's time to put it to bed. I mean, obviously this is our quarterback for the now and the future. So we have better things to talk about for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? You can put that to rest. I think that our offense is built really nicely for Jared Goff. I do still maybe struggle a little bit if he's got the arm and the timing to really utilize a guy like, say, J-Mo. But I think they're going to work on it. I think they're going to get better on it. I think it's going to work out. It just takes some time.
I said it earlier. It was an earlier video. I did a video. Well, it was a podcast. You texted me late. That's why. But I had the breakout players. I had Jameson Williams on there. Why did I have Jameson Williams on there? Because as the year went on with Jameson Williams, so did him and Goff. They developed a good connection.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's one of the things that you look at with a guy like Jameson Williams. I mean, Jared Goff wants to have a connection with his receiver. That's the number one thing, okay? So if he has a connection with that wide receiver, 10-1, he's going to go to him more and more and more. I mean, you see it with Sam Laporta, you see it with Jahmyr Gibbs, you see it with Ross St. Brown, you see it with Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds, for everything that he did wrong in the NFC Championship game, solid receiver.
And he's a very reliable target.
That was because Jared Goff had a good telepathy with him.
Yeah, you're hoping that J-Mo can take Josh Reynolds' targets, see what he can do if he gets
and more
6-7 targets.
You're hoping for more, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you're hoping that he kind of gets those target shares, but what he'll do with those target shares will be beyond what Josh Reynolds could do. You know what I mean? He's more explosive. He's more of a home run guy. For a while there, I was kind of joking. I'm like, man, I wish I could. I'm going to put a prop bet on Jameson Williams, 2 targets, 2 catches, every week. This dude had 2 targets, 2 catches, 2 targets, 2 catches for 7 straight weeks before he finally, got. But as the time went on, like you stated on a previous video, and I've shared a lot, is that dude weeks what was it 8 through 17 or 9 through 17? J-Mo had 0 drops.
No drops. Yeah, no drops through week 10 through the NFC Championship game. No drops.
Yeah, and so he got a lot better, and he made some tough catches.
Because I tell people all the time, when you come into an NFL season, okay, and you're kind of behind the 8 ball, right?
Oh yeah, he wasn't ready for he was suspension, injury, all sorts of shit.
But you see it in hockey a lot because those are 2 sports that are they're grinded out kind of games or whatever. But a guy comes in off, injury and he's a little slower than the rest of the guys, right? And then it takes him a little bit of time to get up to speed. And they always talk about getting up to game speed. And that's what they talk about. You can't replicate game speed in practice. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. You could be a high school coach. I don't care if you were a high school coach or whatever. You can't replicate game speed. You could be in practice all day long and take the hardest practices and whatever the case may be. But if you're not in those games, you have no idea what's going to go on. Anthony Martinez on the Facebook, he says, I expect him to be here 2 seasons. He's going to be here more. I'm just going to say that. If there's multiple titles,
3 if there's multiple titles, okay.
If not, Hooker will get the nod. And I'm
just telling you this: if there's a freaking Super Bowl that comes to Detroit, they're going to build a Jared Goff statue as big as Comerica Park right downtown, and we're going to worship it weekly. Trust me, you don't want to see how crazy. You think people love Jared Goff now?
If Jared Goff just brings 1 Super Bowl championship, I think that's a win. That's a total win. I mean, literally. Ken Fisher says, this is a good comment. He says, I also think the team in general, the players wanted the Lions to re-sign Goff. I remember Amon-Ra St. Brown during the draft promoting Goff. And that's the thing, man. What a lot of fans don't understand is if you said, no, Jared Goff, we're not paying you. You know what it says to your players?
We don't reward you for succeeding.
one, we will not reward you for succeeding. Two, we just took one of your leaders in the locker room and we said we are not going to pay them. You know who's noted for that? The Cincinnati Bengals. And for years they've tried to get rid of that moniker of, we're a cheap organization.
Yeah, but look what they're doing now.
They tried so hard. Like, even with paying Joe Burrow the money, they're still known for, being a cheap organization.
They won't re-sign Hendrickson. They won't re-sign T. Higgins.
So that's what you get known for. And if you're signing free agents and you want them to fit under the cap, because that can happen, when you got a quarterback and you're in a championship windows, these teams, these players, they'll take less to come here. They will.
Yeah.
So you got guys like that, and then they're going to look at your organization and go, no, I'm not going there. Screw that.
Yep. No, I agree. And I think that, like I was saying earlier, man, just the aura of it, everybody wanting him to be around, you have to do that, because if you don't, like, you send such a bad message. Like the Raiders, every one of those players wanted Antonio Pierce to be their coach so bad. And then there were rumors about this Jim Harbaugh stuff and all sorts of other guys. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, if they don't hire Antonio Pierce, that locker room is lost, and they are going to be pissed off, and they're not going to want to play there anymore. I mean, Max Crosby all but said, I'm going to ask for a trade if you don't hire Antonio Pierce. He pretty much all but said that.
There's some times where you
have to listen to your guys.
You have no, as an owner or the general manager, you have no input. Your locker room is going to tell you all what they want to do. They want to keep Jared Goff. You're going to keep Jared Goff because you're going to keep these guys happy. I'm sure that a guy like St. Brown loves Jared Goff because Jared Goff is what made him the quarterback, the wide receiver he is right now. Like, that's just the way it goes. And you look at Sam Laporta, they've developed a connection with him. Jared Goff with Jahmyr Gibbs, Penei Sewell blocking for him. Like, these are guys that they've been around Jared Goff so long that they're just trying to they're trying to be the great player that they are, and that's and you have to resign that guy. I don't care what the cost may be. You're not down the line. This cost is going to go away. Like, you're going to maybe in a couple months, you're going to look at this contract and go, I'm glad we got this contract over with before other players started getting paid. And I don't think, let me just put it right here. I think Jared Goff's a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. Screw his draft, his all the
draft hype.
The hype that Trevor Lawrence gets, he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's better than Dak Prescott. I don't want to hear nothing from anybody. Like, he is better than those quarterbacks. So if he's better than those quarterbacks, when those quarterbacks get paid more than him,
he's better. And people don't want to hear it, but he's better than Jalen Hurts too. I don't care how Mr. Goal Line Merchant gets all his touchdowns. He's better than Jalen.
I think Jalen Hurts is a damn good quarterback, though. Darcy says, I want to pay him for the first, second, and fourth quarters. Here's the thing. Darcy, you're a coach. You know all about this. It's about the game plan. And this is one of the things I've been talking about with Ben Johnson. You know, Tyler, because I've been talking about this for months, years. Well, not years. Well, yeah, years. But I've been talking about this for a long time. Ben Johnson, he needs to come up with better game plans in the third quarter, because when you get into that third quarter, things start to tighten up. Defense goes into halftime, they make adjustments. Period. End of story. That's the way it goes. Like, that's the way it goes in all sports. You go into a period, adjustments. Same thing here, but you never you see them make an adjustment in the fourth quarter, and usually, like, to be honest, you're falling apart at that time, and you're kind of like you're backtracking. That's what we talk about. It's not Jared Goff, because I look at this whole offense, and I'm like, what offense is this? Like, I just seen 28 points scored in the first half, and then you get to the third quarter, and you're like 0.
Yeah, Ben Johnson has to do a better job of that big time, and I think that's a big reason why he, he stayed put. He wanted to get better. He wants to be a better coordinator. I don't think he would have been ready for a coaching gig. So,
here's a great idea. This is Darcy again. Let's throw a boatload to a quarterback that's non-existent. It's more than the quarterback.
It's Ben Johnson at that point.
Man, I keep harping on this. Tyler knows I keep harping on this. I've been saying this I like Ben Johnson, but his third quarter non-adjustments is killing me. I just can't take it. Like, I'll be texting Tyler, and I'm like, just shoot me until the fourth quarter, and then try to revive me. That's what I'll usually say. So, that's the way it goes. Ken Fisher says, look at the Bears and their quarterback problems. See, this is the thing. I mean, the Bears, as good as a franchise as they've been for, during the 84 Bears and all that stuff, have they had a quarterback that's like you go, wow, that guy's great?
Yeah.
You don't really say that about the Bears. Like that's just the way the Bears have done it.
So like I want to point out too, man, and this is just more of a team thing too. And like the way you listen to that locker room and the way you like Jared Goff, because like there's one thing. So look, we can all dive into the chemistry of this team, right? We can say they're all team captains, right? They're all good leaders. They're all talented. They all stay pretty healthy. They're all smart. They're good leaders. But there's one thing that sticks out, and I think it's the secret sauce and the secret recipe that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have kind of built his team on. And it's one thing everybody has in common. They fucking love football, man. They love ball.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a quarterback like Jared Goff who loves ball. He helps get his guys involved. Everybody is on the same page of, I love football. I want to play to win. I want to play to have fun. Like, you can't, like, taking Jared Goff out of that equation for a guy that you're uncertain about is just, it would fall apart at the seams. Like, believe it or not, that trade for Jared Goff, everybody thought that was a throw-in trade. And that dude right there, I mean, that was franchise altering. And that he's the most important piece, man. And like I said, I was skeptical. I was a hater. I had my doubts. I didn't love him. I would hope we moved on after the first or second year. But seeing him grind it out, pretty much say, hey, man, F you. I'm going to bust my ass and grind my ass out to prove you wrong. And every year he's gotten better. He's gotten more likable. He's been a better leader every year. And, like, it's getting to the point now where, we're not the Detroit Lions that we are right now without Jared Goff. And he's one of those few guys, like you said, that you get traded, and instead of falling apart, we were supposed to be the place that quarterbacks go to die. Or the place that players go to die, man. And he came here and had a career revival, and he put the shit on his back and said, "Let's be good. Let's be good again. Let's go. I got you." Like, it worked out, man. It's great.
I'm gonna make a comparison to what Jared Goff really is, okay? And you're gonna get this comparison because you're a Pistons fan. Just think about it like this: when the Pistons traded for Rasheed Wallace, he wasn't like that, that championship type player. He was kind of a He's kind of a dick, and he wasn't like a team player. He comes to the Pistons. Larry Brown, basically says that ain't happening here, bro. And then Larry Brown basically coaches him up, and then he becomes an influential part of your championship success. Him and Chauncey. I mean, Chauncey was a throw-in to that deal.
Absolutely.
Like, they didn't want Chauncey. Ben Wallace was a throw-in. Like sometimes when you make a trade, okay, like.
Well, now you're the land of the misfits, right? Now you're like, oh, am I just a throw-in? Am I just a piss on you? Like,
well, then you gain this whole thing about like Vegas Golden Knights, right? They're the hockey team in Vegas.
Yeah,
they call themselves the Misfit Toys. A lot of them, because the original
team or whatever.
They were the expansion team, and players weren't getting protected, and they went to the Stanley Cup in their first year. And then when they finally won the Stanley Cup, they were like, oh, the Misfits got their championship. Like, you don't really understand. Like, if you've never played a sport, or you've never been told that you're not good enough, or you've been told that, like, whatever you do, you're still just the same old garbage. Like, no, players can get better.
The chip on that shoulder is crazy.
Players can go to a different level. Like, I always look at it like this. Like, I remember when the Red Wings got I think I was like 3, but when the Red Wings when they got Chris Draper, right? They got Chris Draper for $1 from the Winnipeg Jets. Influential person to their Stanley Cup run. Yeah. Like, he was a key part of the Stanley Cup. So what I'm saying is, like, you could say that he was a throw into the deal. But Brad Holmes, the general manager of your Detroit Lions, said, I'm going to take him. If it doesn't work out, fine. We're gonna work it out, but I think that he could be a guy that could be influential.
Well, it's like the Wings. They went and got that one offseason. They went and got Hasek. They went and got Hall. They went and got like 4 Hall of Famers in that one summer, man. And they were like all like, and they always said too, oh, Brett Hall's an asshole. He's a coach killer. He's he'll never work out. He won't be a culture fit. Dude came here and was the perfect fit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if sometimes you just don't mesh well with someone. So, like
Yeah.
me, like Jared Goff not meshing well with Sean McVay. Do I really take any? Do I really take anything out of it? No, because Sean McVay kind of seems like a douche.
Yeah,
Okay,
he is. He's an asshole.
let's just say
Well,
what it is.
and I think Goff took a little bit of that too, and like was like, hold up, like I'm gonna grab my nuts here for a minute. I was the number one overall freaking pick for a reason, man. Don't disrespect me, bro. I'm not a
Right.
throw in. I'm not an extra. I'm not some bullshit, you know, throwaway toy. I was the first overall pick, and I'm gonna remind y'all why I was the first overall pick. Oh, and you thought Detroit, you know, was you thought Detroit was shitty, and you thought that
I
they
love
weren't undeserving. He like embraced it,
I
and
love
then
the
on top of that, Brad Holmes doubled down and always since day one said, "That's my freaking guy, man," and like that helps your
I
confidence.
I could say this without remember his quote about they left me here to die. They left me
Yeah.
here to die. You know, sometimes, man, sometimes like you get so fired up, man. Like so many people,
Gives me goosebumps, man, for
they
real.
doubt you, and that's what I'm saying, man. They doubt you, they say that you're not good enough, and then you turn in and you go berserk. You just start getting every job that you wanted. You start making all the money that you ever wanted. Like sometimes when someone tells you that you're not good enough, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a job, sometimes that just turns you into a effing animal, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like it doesn't matter, man. Like I'm
exactly.
everybody on the stream that's watching the stream right now, you've been fired at one point. Don't lie. You've been fired at one point, and it doesn't feel good. And you
Yeah,
go to the next.
you've been
You go
told
to
by
the next,
somebody that you're not good enough. Your wife, your job, your friend,
right.
your
Your
teacher. Someone's
girlfriend.
told you, man. Someone has
Your
told you.
exactly. So you go into that point, and you're just like, screw it. And when you watch Jared Goff in that first year with the Lions, you know that guy was like he had no one. Like he
Well, you
literally
know
had no
what's
one.
crazy? Like, and you know this, you've seen it too, bro. They wouldn't come out and say it, but Dan Campbell threw him under the bus so much. I don't think Dan wanted anything to do with Jared Goff after that first year either. Like, I don't think he wanted him to necessarily be his quarterback at first. But Brad Holmes stuck with him, said, "No, this is our guy. Let's give him a chance." And I think he wore on Dan Campbell. His leadership kind of poked out. He saw how he interacted with the guys, and then Dan really started to grow and love him and respect him and they like went through that rough patch together. I remember that first year, second year, dude. He was, and I don't know if it was more like just keeping him accountable, but it seemed like he was kind of quick to throw Goff under the bus,
Well,
fairly quickly too. But they've grown and they've developed a relationship, and now, I mean, that's his guy.
well, if you go back to it and you go back to those quotes and you go back
It's kind
to
of like
when
testing his toughness.
I think what Dan Campbell is trying to do is say like, okay, dude, what you did in LA, you can't do it here.
Right.
We're gonna have to get you more tightened up. We're gonna have to get you more aware, and take it seriously. Sometimes, like if you got the right coach, man, I don't care who you are. Like it clicks different.
Yeah.
It clicks different. Like you get a coach that he challenges you. He wants better for you. You know he wants better for you, but he challenges you to a T. Like he makes you the vocal point of like failure and everything. Like he's like, you got to be better. You got to be better. Sometimes when you do that to a player, it goes back into like the whole thing of like, this guy's got my back. He believes in me, and that's kind of like the psychology of the game. Like people think Dan Campbell is a meathead. I mean, that's brilliant on his part. He always does that. Like if he has a problem with a player, he'll be like, look, not good enough, and you're like, what? Like what? And what made the difference in someone said this in a chat. Barry said this. He said OC made a difference. You could say when Dan Campbell took over play calling, I think it was against Pittsburgh, changed the whole complexion of this franchise, the whole complexion.
Yep. Yeah.
That's still the game plan they use. Everyone talks about it. Like Hank Fraley, he operates the run game, and Ben Johnson the pass game, and they just do it in tandem, and that's what good organizations do. And he knew that Anthony Lynn was a bad thing for Jared Goff. He made the change. He's not, privy to say like I'm not going to make the change. He made the change. He did it a couple times, so it's good.
Well,
To
that's
see.
what I'm excited because you've always been a big like proponent and defender of Aaron Glenn, and now I'm excited to see because you know what he was very quick to move on with Anthony Lynn, sorry, and he was quick to move on. Deuce Staley kind of had his own thing going on because he had some issues with his mom and some family, some health issues and stuff like that. But but he has given Aaron Glenn a longer leash. So now that Aaron Glenn actually has some palpable, real NFL talent, this is going to be a really interesting season for him. So
I think
I
Aaron
think
Glenn,
just this season in general is just going to be so important for us as a franchise.
and the next couple pods we're gonna be talking about like the positional and what we expect out of them. But like this was an emergency pod. We kind of just did this on a whim. But you said about Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn's gonna have a fantastic year. And I want to address.
Man. I'm super excited.
I want to address one of the comments. It was this guy named Dan, and it's MCE from Facebook. He says, "So I guess all you Goff haters are full of blah, right?" Laughing face, and then everyone was talking, and he was the captain leader. You can't say that about me. Period. Can't say that about me. I've said since the beginning, since Jared Goff, I said he is going to be your quarterback. I got chastised by Darcy of the Detroit Lions News show. I got chastised by Avery of the Spirit of Detroit podcast. I got chastised by a lot of people saying, and I'm not a Jared Goff slappy, okay? There's some people that you get around and they're like, oh, Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the league. I don't think Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the league. What I'm saying is Jared Goff is a quarterback that you can win with. I don't care about being the best quarterback in the league. I don't care that he can't run the ball. Because, I've seen Tom Brady not be able to run the ball and be an efficient passer and make plays and win championships.
Yeah. And as crazy as it sounds, he does play a lot like Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's the level of talent or success that Tom Brady was or will be.
No, it's all connection to the wide receiver.
Very cerebral play.
He's got to have that connection, and that's what they do. And when's the last time an athletic quarterback's won a championship? You could say Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is in a whole other level. Okay, like Patrick Mahomes is like the cheat code for quarterbacks. If you were gonna create a Madden character, that's who you would create. Patrick Mahomes. Right. He's just a cheat code. And then Josh Allen, he's got the arm like that. He's got the Wyoming arm, I call it. Like he's just the Wyoming cowboy arm that he just throws it and just says, screw it. He's a total gunslinger, and he lives up to the difference. But that's the way it is. Like people could sit here and they could talk about how people didn't believe in Jared Goff. You can't say that about me. Like Tyler could vouch for me for that. Like I was one of the main people. I was like, look, he's gonna be here for a while. And Tyler came on board late, a little bit later. And then more people started to come on board because they saw this season. I'm like, this is what is happening. Like Brad Holmes, ever since he got Jared Goff, he's been saying, like, look, this is my quarterback. Like, I believe that he could be the guy that could lead us to a championship. And that's what you want. And
yeah. Look, and he believed it before anybody. I think he believed it before Jared Goff even believed it himself. Brad Holmes is always, and that helps when you have somebody that really believes in you and has your back. So, something I want to kind of say is just something to just kind of wrap up my thoughts. It's something to really bring it to light with this Jared Goff situation, right? Trent Green did go to Super Bowl as a backup, but Trent Dilfer, man, won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Now I know he had one of the greatest postseason runs of all time, right? You got guys like Colin Kaepernick made a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman made a Super Bowl. Matt Hasselbeck made a Super Bowl. So if you're trying to sit here and tell me that anybody I named is better than Jared Goff, it's probably not true, and you're probably lying to yourself. So if you can put Jared Goff in that situation and say, hey, is he better than any of these guys that have made it to a Super Bowl? Now, most of those guys either didn't win the Super Bowl or they just barely fell short. But regardless, if he can make it to that big game, which he was one away, man, even if he makes it to a Super Bowl, you got to say probably win it, right? You probably bring one to the city. If you can say he can win the Super Bowl and bring a title here, you will forget about that contract. You'll forget about the $212 million guaranteed. You'll forget about all the bullshit and all the talk and everything. And we were 2 plays away from making a Super Bowl. And with how our matchup was against the Chiefs in Week 1, I do like our matchup against the Chiefs. I'm not saying we would have won the Super Bowl per se, but I think we would have had a fair shot. So we're very close to a title, and we were last year, and we were ahead of schedule. So, like I said, my ending thoughts on that is, if guys like Rex Grossman and Trent Dilfer and Matt Hasselbeck can make it to the big game, there's no reason why Jared Goff can't make it to the big game and deliver you a championship. And that's what you're hoping for, man. You're giving this guy money because the guys buy in. They believe, the coaches, the GMs, the front office, the players, the receivers, the linemen. They love this guy. They're behind him. The city's behind him. I'm really rooting for him to win one, man, because it's just the amount of love and support that this guy is getting from us is super special. And to see him deliver that to the city as coming from a place of, a throwaway, a misfit, a guy left here to die with that chip on his shoulder, for him to be able to deliver that championship would just be so, so sweet, man. So that's all I'm going to say.
I look at it like this, man, and we'll end this on this note, but you look at all these quarterbacks that are going to get paid soon. I think Jared Goff's better than Dak. I think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. That's the way it is. But, Jared Goff was, like you said, 2 plays away from the Super Bowl. He could have, if Jahmyr Gibbs would have not fumbled the ball, they probably
Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled, Josh Reynolds catch.
Those were 2 of the biggest plays of the game. So, I showed you the playoff stats. I showed you how he is actually pretty good. And with Detroit, I think his completion percentage is 70%. So Jared Goff can get it done. We saw Eli Manning, and I don't really consider Eli Manning this great quarterback by any means or anything
beat
like
the
that.
GOAT twice, my boy.
But Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls, and he beat Tom Brady. Eli Manning is not Tom Brady, but he won 2 Super Bowls. So that's it. Mayak is joining us. Whoa. What up, buddy?
What's going on?
You joined us pretty late.
Just wrapping up, my boy.
We'll let Mayak. We'll let him get some things in. This is one of the guys that posts on our page all the time. He's great. What do you think about the deal?
I think it's a fair deal. I mean, I posted that pick that had his stats. He was top 2 in passing yards per game, completions, and 4th in, I believe it was touchdowns. And he's only thrown 12 picks last year. I mean, like Brad Holmes said, it's much easier to get worse at quarterback than it is to get better. And I don't want to take a chance of letting him walk and going on the quarterback carousel or purgatory for the next 10, 15 years.
Brad Holmes stole that quote from Joe, by the way.
Oh, I like it.
No, it's funny because I've been saying this forever. I just have you look at some of these quarterbacks like we were talking about earlier, man. You look at some of these teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're one of the best organizations of football. They went from Terry Bradshaw to absolutely no one to Ben Roethlisberger. Now they have the misfit toys of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and who the hell knows what's going to happen there? But Mike Tomlin's such a great coach that you think he's gonna get the 500 regardless, so it don't really matter. But I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position where you're oh man, we gotta go get let's say 4 years down the road, a guy like JJ McCarthy doesn't work out.
Well, look at Cleveland, look at Washington. I mean, these guys go through quarterbacks like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington's had a different quarterback every year for the past freaking 4 years.
And now they have Jaden Daniels, and we'll see how that goes. But you look at Deshaun Watson. He went to Houston. He went to Cleveland, right? Cleveland, and then he gets paid all this money, and he's not the same quarterback, and he's getting more guaranteed money than Jared Goff is. So if you look at it from that spectrum, Jared Goff in the Detroit Lions, they got a deal. They literally got a deal because when Dak gets his money. When Jordan Love gets his money, because he knows he's going to get his money because Green Bay is going to pay him because that's what good organizations do. I don't know, man. You're gonna have a good spot to say okay, maybe we don't have the highest paid quarterback anymore. We're just gonna go on with the thing.
I tell you what, Mayank, I don't know what you think, man, but I would say, I'd definitely rather have Jared Goff at 170 guaranteed than Daniel Jones at 160.
Oh,
I'd rather have Jared Goff at 170 than Dak Prescott at 220. I'd rather have Jared Goff at 170 than Deshaun Watson at 260.
Look,
I'm totally with you. Totally with you.
It's the way it goes. If you look at some of these quarterbacks that are getting the money, I think isn't Kyler Murray getting $48 million a year? So and
I have I have a take on Kyler Murray that people don't like because they overinflate this guy for some reason. That dude sucks. Kyler Murray stinks. He can't throw. He's too small. He's fast. He is fast and short. That's it. I hate Kyler Murray, dude. I think he is so overrated. That dude is trash.
I think I have a bold opinion about Kyler Murray, but it's kind of like, but I think Marvin Harrison is going to revive his career, to be honest. Like,
That's fair.
Yeah, but I just think that like a lot of these quarterbacks, man, like they come out of school. Like if you watch college football, they come out of school, they're so worried about the NIL, they're like, screw it, dude. Like let's make this money, let's make it roll, right? And they're really not focused on football. Like I feel like a guy like JJ McCarthy, he might be successful with the Minnesota Vikings. I like JJ. I like Caleb too.
I need to pick your guys' brain for 1 second, dude. We got all of us in here, the three of us in here for a minute. Like Caleb Williams to Chicago, man. Like, is this streak gonna break, or is he gonna be another failed USC Chicago quarterback? Like, is he going to break the mold? I mean, this dude is coming into a crazy offense. I know we're getting a little off topic here, but we're talking NFC quarterbacks. You got J.J. McCarthy coming into Minnesota, which is a complete wild card. You got Caleb Williams, who's coming into one of the most high-powered offenses that a rookie's probably ever come into.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, like, what are you guys thinking here? Like, I mean, is he gonna break the trend? Or
go ahead, Joe. I'll go after you.
I tell people all the time, I am scared to death of Caleb Williams. I literally am scared to death of him. If I was a Chicago Bears fan, I'd be scared to death because I watch this guy. Whenever he gets pressured, he turns into like he just starts throwing it up. Like I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but like I watch him against Utah. It's a team that pressured him. He lost. He played Oregon, lost. Played Washington, lost. He played Notre Dame. They bullied him. Like this is just some of the things that happen with these quarterbacks, and I'm scared of Caleb Williams. I know people think that he's a generational quarterback, and we thought the same about Trevor Lawrence, but like at some point you got to look at what they do like on tape. Like Caleb Williams will throw that ball up to anybody, and it'll get intercepted, and that's one thing I worry about. And all these people, they try to say, "Oh, he's like Patrick Mahomes." So Patrick Mahomes is a gunslinger. I'm like, okay. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes for a reason. Like there is not another guy like Patrick Mahomes.
You see him being more of like a boomer bust guy. Like this dude's either going to be just shit, or he's just going to be.
He's either going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or he is going to bust out like crazy, and it's going to be bad. Like it'll be bad for Chicago. It'll be bad if he stays. If another thing I worry about with Caleb Williams, and a lot of people don't talk about this, especially on these national shows. I know we're a Detroit Lions podcast, but what you worry about with Caleb Williams is his coach might not be there next year. They might fire that asshole. So then he's gonna have another coach to learn from. Like it's just like it's a Chicago Bear way. Like they don't understand. They don't really have a good organization. They kind of just throw it together. They're like, screw it. We're not firing the coach. He's a defensive coach. We're bringing in a quarterback. It's like, oh my god, this is gonna be. We've seen how this went last time.
Rinse and repeat with Fields. So I mean, it's
man. What do you think, man? What's your take?
Well, let's see. I pulled something up. It says strengths. His arm talent is as natural as it gets. Can't be coached or replicated. He can play. He can make plays out of structure. He has good playmaking ability. But his biggest weakness, he has a hero ball mentality. What Joe just said. Like he always relies on big plays, and eventually it costs them. I mean, it's okay to do it once in a while, but if you have that mentality all the time, you're going to be like, you are going to be boom or bust. You are going to be like.
Well, in the NFL, ain't no joke, dude. These guys are top tier athletes, top tier talent.
Exactly.
If you're getting busted up by Utah and Washington, imagine going up against the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings and the Cowboys and the
49ers.
Some good secondaries,
Like you can't replicate that, and then it's funny because like I watched Caleb Williams at USC and watch against Utah, and he looks like a totally different player compared to when he's playing Colorado. And I'm like, well, I don't care what Deion Sanders says; those aren't Louis back there. Those are like Walmart duffel bags that you get at Burlington Coat Factory. Like they're just awful, and it's like funny because like. Everyone wants that flashy quarterback. This is what we get back with Jared Goff. Like, this is where we get back to the Jared Goff discussion is like, everybody wants that flashy quarterback, right? Everybody wants the Jalen Hurts. They want the Patrick Mahomes. They want the Josh Allen. But there's only one quarterback that has been able to perfect it, and he is a one-of-one. It's like if you go to my cousin's card shops, Three Kings, right? And you go, I'm gonna buy a freaking box, this hobby box. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna get the 101. Guess what? You got all bums. Why? Because it's a 1-of-1. And that's how Mahomes is. So everyone that could compare Jared Goff to Mahomes, or they could say, "Well, I want that guy." Well, newsflash: everyone in the world would take Patrick Mahomes on their team.
Right.
It's not a newsflash, dude. Like it's like hockey. Like there is not a single team that'd be like, "No, I don't want Connor McDavid." Like what are we talking about? It's like vintage LeBron James. Do you think every team's gonna be like, "Nah, screw that guy. He ain't getting no good." No.
Right.
No, they're gonna be like, yeah, I'll take that guy right now, and I'll give you whatever you want. I'll buy you a house. I don't care. Come here, like it's what Miami did. Miami bought LeBron James a house, and they said, look, it's on the canal, and he's like, I want it on the ocean. They're like, all right, so sold.
Yeah, man.
That's the way it goes, man.
Oh wow.
But that's how it is. Like I think it's funny that these people they always go after this whole like notion like I want this guy. It's
I am so intrigued about what JJ is going to be. I feel like they didn't let him Harbaugh didn't let him throw enough to really let you see what he's going to be, and that is such a wild card. Like I am so perplexed to see what he's going to end up being. I don't know. That's going to be such a wild card. Like I think, well, for one, I think that was a move that saved Justin Jefferson from leaving the Vikings. I think that was a franchise-saving move because if they didn't go quarterback right there, I think he was as good as gone. But now it's how quickly can you get him to speed, and can you get him to the speed you want to? Is JJ going to be the guy? Is he going to be great, or is he going to? I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's such a wild card.
That's another guy who's a one-of-one. Like, can you imagine you're a rookie quarterback and you get to go, I get to throw to that guy, to Justin Jefferson,
and Jordan Addison.
And Jordan Addison, and I don't like
Hawk.
I don't like Hawk, but Hawk is a solid tight end. He's a top 5 tight end. We have
Aaron Jones in the backfield too. I mean, he ain't no slouch.
Aaron Jones was one of the best running backs after contact last year. So the Packers, they're like I got into Packer fans earlier this week. Man, you made us see it. Tyler, I don't think you did.
I saw
it. I was on Twitter, and this dumbass said, "Oh, Josh Jacobs is going to be like better than Dave Montgomery." I'm like, dude, Josh Jacobs' yard after contact was the worst in the NFL, the worse than DeAndre Swift, and that's hard to do because DeAndre Swift don't get any yards after contact. He's like 3 yards down, and if you don't get the home run, he's down. Like that's the way it is. In Chicago, they got DeAndre Swift, and it's gonna be fun to see because
bro, that kills me that they said that. They were always talking shit. The Bears were always talking about shit about Swift, and then they were talking shit about Montgomery, and it's like we're paying Montgomery and Gibbs less money combined than you're paying DeAndre Swift. That's
mind-blowing.
That's what bad organizations do. I mean, like you could say that you're a good organization now, but proof's in the pudding, man. Like when you overpay a guy like DeAndre Swift. I mean, there's a reason that the Philadelphia Eagles are like, all right, bro, we know that you were from here, but you got to go, bro. You got to go.
No one on planet Earth would say, I would rather have Swift than Monty and Gibbs. No one on planet Earth would say that. And that's what the money says for us.
You got to talk to Bears.
Talk to Bears fans and see what
they think that they got they're like, but you haven't seen the best of him. I'm like, bro.
Yes, we have.
He spent time.
You'll see the best of them until week 7.
Wait, no. He was with 2 of the best offensive lines in football and did absolutely nothing. Like it's like at some point it's you, bro. Like it's no one else. Like you were with the Eagles. Eagles have a great offensive line.
I mean, he had 1,000 yards with the Eagles. He did well, but he just missed time and he's never healthy.
Yeah, but his yards after contact was like 2.35, which was like 34th in the NFL. Like it was the worst one with like 50% of like.
Yeah, so his yards came from the line mowing dudes.
It came. You know where it came from. It was Mulata on the left side. He would go to the left side a lot. It was Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson's a freaking beast. He's like Penn so.
Yeah, and you got Jason Kelce up the center.
And then if Jason Kelce gets pulled, Jason Kelce pulls Lane Johnson's on the outside. Boom, Cam Jurgens isn't there. It's like, all right, like what do you got to do? Like I'd love to run behind that line. Like, let's be honest. Like that's the way it is.
Oh, Lord.
But that's the way it is, I don't know what you think about it, but like a lot of people they keep talking about this, the Jared Goff and how he's overpaid. I know there's a notion if you just like read the comments on our page, like he's overpaid. It's like,
But
All right, dude.
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I heard a Bears fan say that Bob Quinn was better than Brad Holmes because he drafted offensive lineman, and Brad Holmes just threw his future away to pay 3 guys. I'm like, I couldn't say anything. I couldn't process what I was reading.
You're trolling at that point. You gotta
I literally laid down, closed my eyes.
No, that just shows you how bad of a troll you are, because you literally just said the worst general manager in pro sports just said, "Oh, he's better than better than Brad Holmes." What? I can't even get out of my mouth because it's so like perplexing. Like, you really think that Bob Quinn, a guy who drafted Tease Tabor and Jelani Tavai in the second round, is better than Brad Holmes, who got Amon-Ra St. Brown as a 6th round pick, right? 6th round pick.
Fourth round, I think.
Fourth.
Yeah, okay, 4th round pick. He got Derek Barnes. He got Rodrigo. He got Brian Branch in the 2nd round.
James
Look
Houston.
at last year's draft. I mean, you could have took those first 4 picks and said, "Yeah, they're all 1st round picks, bro." Like, okay, like that's what it is. Like,
dude got Christian in the 5th round, bro.
Name me a Bears general manager that did that type of draft. You can't, because the Bears major flaw has been their drafts. Like, it literally has.
You could say that Ryan Poles is making moves, but he gave Tremaine Edmonds fucking $25 million a year.
Well, I remember Tyler was a big proponent of signing Tremaine Edmonds.
Well, not that much. When I saw his contract, I was a little bit more shy.
I remember Mayock too was like, "Why are we signing this guy?" And I'm
if
like,
the money was right, not for that much.
The guy just got paid. Like, what did he get paid?
Too much.
Wasn't $18 million a year?
18.
No, more like 23 or
5, yeah.
Was it? That was like 22,
that's even
23.
worse. Don't even say that. Okay, he's getting paid $20 million a year, and he was the worst statistical linebacker in pass coverage. Like, okay, that's great, dude. Like, at least Jack Campbell, I could look at Jack Campbell and be like, all right, dude, I think he's pretty damn good. Like, I think he's going to be a pretty freaking good.
Yeah, he definitely flashed like the end of last year, like being able to diagnose plays and all that. So, look, he got better as the year went on. Yeah, definitely. Slowly,
and Derek Barnes got better. Derek Barnes, see, I was at that playoff game where he made that interception on Baker Mayfield, I said, I lost my hearing for a minute, and I tore my pants because I fell down, which was even more better. Which it's like all right, I'm not wearing pants. Well, I'm not wearing like jeans when I go to the Ford Field because
you're not gonna wear pants, just show up naked.
Yeah, you might as well just say screw it. You know, I'm going to Dan Campbell way. I'm gonna have a lion next to me too. Like, but like I was just like laughing because like I was like, Derek Barnes is gonna pick this ball off, and then sure as shit he did. Like, I was like, I just seen it coming because he made the right track on it, and man, that was so loud. I lost my hearing, and then my cousin elbowed me in the face, and it was great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, man. I think I was telling Joe this earlier, man. I was saying, this finally gives us something to put to rest. Now we can shut the hell up about our quarterback position for the next 5 years, and we can just get to work and play some ball.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, you're at the point right now where you don't have to worry about, paying a quarterback. You don't have to worry about going and getting a quarterback. I think a lot of people worry about getting a quarterback because they think it's gonna like everyone wants like I said, they want the flashy quarterback. But like the guys that get it done, those are the guys you keep.
This will shut up all the Hendon Hooker fans, right, Darcy?
Well, okay, Darcy's a strange human being because he loves Hendon Hooker, and I tried telling him. See,
we love you, brother.
What people don't know is I openly root for Tennessee Volunteers, and I love Hendon Hooker. I think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback for the NFL. I think he's a good backup, whatever the case may be. And this guy's trying to tell me, no, dude, he's the next thing. I'm like, no, dude, like he's good, but he ain't like great. And he's like, well, he was up for the Heisman. I was like, bro, how many quarterbacks were up for the Heisman and they sucked ass in the pros?
Joey Harrington.
Right. Joey Harrington. Who was another guy?
Chris Redmond.
Chris Winkie. Winkie was another one.
Oh yeah.
Remember with the Carolina Panthers? Like, oh yeah, like Sam Bradford, Kyler Murray. God, like Jalen Hurts is pretty damn good, but that's like you're Carson Palmer was good for a minute, and then he stunk it up. So it is what it is.
Vince Young.
But but he went crazy. That doesn't count. He went nuts, man. Like he literally went nuts. Like you hear stories about him in Tennessee. Like he got drunk This is a true story. You can look it up. He got drunk on Broadway, which is Nashville's main drag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his coach took a wheelchair and wheeled him back to his house 2 miles away. I was like, damn, man, like that's how you know you need some issues. You gotta get a wheelchair from 2 miles away. Like,
Yeah.
all right, man. Let's wrap it up and then
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys got any final comments?
I threw mine down already earlier, man. I think I'm all good, man.
Man, you got any final comments?
Anyone who thinks that Jared Goff should not have gotten paid this deal, please go refer to his stats for the past 2 years and tell me that isn't worth the deal he's getting, especially with the cap going up. That's not going to be a problem.
Boom. Look at his stats the last 2 years and just whoa. And Darcy, I don't care. You can take this tweet and you can shove it up your ass. I don't care. That's the way it goes. Like that
Shots
is the way it goes.
Shots fired, Coach
Darcy. Coach Darcy. Okay, first of all, he's Coach Darcy. He wants to be known as Coach Darcy, which I can't take seriously because he just says the most asinine shit. Like, oh, Hendon Hooker should start with Jared Goff. I'm like, bro, you're a coach. Like, you should know this stuff. Like, Coach Darcy, he's a gentle giant, though. You know, he's my Canadian brother, and you know what I'm saying. He took me to a game. He's all good. I like Darcy. Sometimes he has these outlandish statements, and sometimes he likes to troll, and that's what I know about Darcy. Darcy loves a troll, so he's like if he started getting on social media and started trolling people, he'd be the best at it. I swear to God, like the text he'll send me sometimes, I'm like, this guy is out of his mind, and I know he's trolling me. I know for a fact he's trying to get a rise out of me. That's what he does. All right, guys. I'll see you guys. Thanks, Mayak, for coming on. Thanks for everyone for watching. We will see you guys in the next podcast. We'll probably do one after the schedule is revealed, and then I'm doing a one with my cousin on Thursdays. We'll go live with that, and then Tyler, you can join him. Mayak, you can join him. We don't care. And then yeah. So Jared Goff's getting re-signed, and then you could look for some videos that are going to come out next day or so. But we said screw it. Let's just do a podcast. That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked Tyler. I sent Mayak the link, and then we were like, all right, let's go. So that's what we're doing. So we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Make sure you go to wherever you go get your podcast. Just search on Detroit Lions News Podcast, and boom. And we'll put the link up, the link tree up where you can go to any of those sites. I know there's like a million podcast places, but whatever.
Yeah, go and give it a listen on Spotify and Apple, man. It helps us out a ton. So if you can go on there and just let it play for a little bit, man, give us a couple views, man. We appreciate it.
Rate, review, subscribe. We appreciate it. We're almost hitting our 100th episode. You believe that? We almost had our 100th episode. Wow. This is amazing. All right, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next podcast as we talk more Lions football. See you.